welcome preeminent agents and investors from across the country. Today is Thursday, August 12th, 2021, and this is Mastermind podcast number 340. I'll go around the horn. Bruce, anything you would like to go over today?
Other than we're going to reintroduce, since we didn't introduce anyone last week, we're going to reintroduce someone this week. Chuck.
Oh, is Chuck here?
Yeah, Chuck is here. Chuck, are you there?
Oh, okay, great.
Yep, I'm here. Can everybody hear me?
Yep. Loud and clear.
Very good.
So, we're going to introduce Chuck. We can do that in a quick moment. We've got Foundations role play next week, next Wednesday. I'll be sending anyone who is registered and previously attended or watched a Probate Foundations course can attend that. It's specifically role play, full of breakout rooms. And if you haven't been to Foundations, guys, you need to come to Foundations first, so that you know what our general dialogue is. So if you haven't registered and attended Probate Foundations, I apologize to you guys. You're not invited. I mean that in the most loving way. But we have a very specific dialogue approach that we use on the phone, and that's what we're role-playing next week. So if you have registered, you have been to Foundations before, please be looking out for that email and jump into that role-play class when we have it. And that's all I have.
Perfect. You want to go ahead and introduce Chuck and just kind of let everybody know the role he will be playing going forward?
We have a new coach, my accountability partner, Chuck Sierk. Coming on board, he's going to be gradually taking on a larger and larger coaching and training role with all the leads. Chuck, with that, I'm going to let you finish saying hello to everyone since I interrupted you a minute ago.
Absolutely. So I'm really happy to be here. I come to all the leads with a 20-year investing background, and my wife being the agent component since 2005, and then I got my license in 2018. So we have our hybrid agent investor approach implemented here in South Central Pennsylvania. So I'm happy to be here, share my experience. I mean, we've absolutely done some of our best and most profitable deals with probate deals throughout our time investing. So I'm happy to be here and help people really get the most out of the opportunity being a subscriber at all the leads, really puts in your hands. So I'm happy to be here, guys. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, Chuck. I think you had shared with me a few of your first investing deals with probate. So you kind of learned the hard way. I kind of jumping in the school of hard knocks. So great experience, great expertise. It's great that you have the realtor and the investor background. And I don't know what Bruce is going to do now since he hasn't been very busy. So he'll have to find something to occupy his time.
I'm just going to watch a lot more Netflix.
Cool. Okay. No, seriously, thrilled to have you. We did a pretty good search to find you, and thanks to Bruce's recommendation, we're glad to have you as part of the team. So just want to make sure everybody knew who you were and who they'll be talking to in the future. Tim, anything you'd like to share before we get to our cue?
Well, first of all, I'm delighted that Chuck has joined us, and like you said, we thought long and hard about kind of what we wanted to bring on board and who we wanted to bring on board, and Bruce had some pretty serious thoughts about what he was looking for, and then it just occurred that this is the right choice to make, and we've all had great experiences in our first interactions with Chuck, and we think it's going to do well. And a big part of why we're so attuned to trying to make this work is that, as you know, we built this company to be a systematic approach to doing this, not just a lead selling company. And in order to do that correctly, we've got to have the right people in the right places and also the right systems in place. So, Chuck is a great step in that direction. I'll also tell you that I just came out of another meeting. We've been kind of behind the scenes, taking a long look at what happens from the time somebody joins our company as a subscriber to the point that they become successful and they start making great money and become ambassadors for, all the good things we try and do for everybody. And every time we do something like this, or every time any company does something like this, if they aren't constantly doing it, they find something that just jumps out of the woodwork and they smack themselves in the head and go, why didn't we fix this before now? And as usual, we found several of those things. So we're going to be making some revisions in the way we do things when people get started, and making some things easier. And we're going to be implementing some more tools to make some of these things happen. So just letting you know, we're continuing to grow the things that we do. And as we roll out some of the new products we've been talking about, they're going to be rolled out with the benefit of having it done a bit more correctly and easier for all of you to take advantage of and understand. And also trying to take into consideration that everybody does things differently. There are people who like to watch videos, and that's a great way for them to learn. There are people who just want somebody to walk them through it. There are people who want somebody to do it for them. And, every gradient of that in between. And we're trying to make sure that we cater to everyone's needs so that we don't try to make a one-size-fits-all. We want to have a size for everybody. And that's kind of been the methodology that we've been looking at. And so, Chuck's a great step in that direction. He's going to be the person that you talk to, and he's going to be taking your pulse while you're learning from him. And as he takes your pulse, we're going to find out what we may need to be doing to help you specifically be successful. So there's a lot of things that are changing, and of course, a lot of the things that we're doing are staying the same. But we're just trying to get better, and we think Chuck's a great step in that direction.
Excellent. And while you were talking, Tim, I was thinking we mentioned this probably not quite often enough. We do have incredible customer support. Call the office, email support@alltheleads.com. Recently, we were looking on any given day now, we have about 120 hours of people watching us on YouTube. So at any given time, there's 4 people on YouTube. But we have an incredibly robust search bar. If you guys are ever thinking, like, I wonder...
I couldn't have said it better myself, Jim.
What's that?
You broke up, bud.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, where did you lose me?
You said we have an incredible... And that was it.
Okay, we have an incredible...
I think it was just you, Tim.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Then never mind.
You had wax in your ear. Clean it out.
That's probably it.
Yeah. We have an incredibly robust search bar. So if you're wondering, like, I heard something on a call a few weeks ago, I wonder what the best way is to approach attorneys. I wonder what kind of language I should use. Almost anything. It just go to the regular All the Leads page in the upper right-hand corner, and you can put almost anything in that search bar. I don't know what the numbers are, but I suspect we have thousands of hours worth of content, and it'll bring you, it's kind of like Google. You might have to play around with it a little bit, adjust what you're looking for. But that's an easy, quick, fast way to find almost anything that we've offered over the last 8 years. And I think a lot of people don't really know that, or they don't realize it. So play around with that if you have time and you want to, you can look at a document, you can look at our letters, you can listen to a few role play calls that are on topic with what you need help with. So just be aware of that and use it more frequently. And having said all of that, we have 2 people in the queue. So there's plenty of room for more, guys. Just hit *6 and then hit 1. In the meantime, first up this week is phone number ending in 6640. You're up first.
Hey, good morning. My name is Eric. I'm in Los Angeles, California. How are you guys?
Great, Eric. What's new in LA?
It's pretty competitive. I've been a little bit more consistent with making some calls this week, and I find that on one particular situation, the lady's selling to investors, and the investors are paying the probate. They seem to lock her up in a deal at $450,000, and the property is probably worth about $600,000 as is. And I was like, is that common? Do you guys typically have relationships with probate attorneys? Because I have a large demographic here, a large area that seem to be house rich, cash poor.
Well, I mean, that's a unique way to do it that they're implementing. But yeah, we definitely teach, and I think anyone, whether an investor or a real estate agent, should have some solid relationships with probate and estate planning attorneys. If they've chosen to cover those expenses for the client, I mean, more power to them. I don't want to.
Right.
I don't want to. Yeah, they found a unique way to kind of lock someone up in a contract. And you think that it's worth $600 as is, or $600 at the end of the day?
No, probably as is. At the end of the day, if they were to fix it up, probably about $750, $800.
All right.
Our numbers here.
It makes a lot of sense to me that someone would offer that. I don't know exactly what, California, probate fees might be from attorneys. Where I'm at, they're not too exorbitant. They're like maybe $2,000, $2,500. And when an investor is approaching someone, hey, we can close quickly and we'll pay all fees, it fits within that realm. So it makes a lot of sense for them to provide that as a value proposition.
Yeah. Okay.
What specifically are they agreeing to pick up in specifics? Do you know?
Well, their thing was there's no real estate costs. They'll take care of the probate fees with the attorney, and they would allow the lady to live there for an extra 60 days after the close.
Okay.
I would allow that person to do all those things, and I'd cover all the costs if I was getting $150,000 off the price. So, no.
Oh, guys, there's so much money here. There's one that just closed recently by a really well-known probate agent at $950, and they turned around and flipped it for $1.6. It's like insane.
Well, the reason I asked the question is, if I were you and you're seeing this on an increasing basis, I would make a list of all of the things that you're finding other people potentially covering. And as you have the conversation, then, start putting them on the table if you think that's important. And just as Bruce said, I mean, the value there is, where the money lives. And you also can look at, if you need to, depending on your cash position, I'll say this for everybody on the call. I mean, if you need to find ways to finance some of this, there are lenders out there who will finance up to X% of ARV, and you can get the repairs covered and everything else that's on there, and you've got plenty of money to potentially throw back or cover in the deal if you're also not in a cash-rich position or don't feel comfortable doing that, or you've got to make the investment up front. We can turn you on to resources to do some of that, but I'd start making a checklist of everything you've heard. And Bruce said the right thing. Hell, agree to whatever you've got, as long as you got enough room and there's enough profit in it. Agree to do whatever you need to do to make it happen. I mean, we're talking about doing that with deals that we make. How do we sweeten this deal for somebody?
Yeah, I agree. Okay, thank you.
And Tim, I was just going to add to that. Unfortunately, he didn't. You didn't indicate that you were having a problem with the financing or the money, but they don't offer it in California, but almost anywhere else in the country. We've had really good feedback with Navigator Capital, gonavcap.com. They will lend up to 90% of the total acquisition. And depending on your experience as a realtor and investor, it's anywhere from, 8 to 10 to 11%. But if you've done a half a dozen deals, you can get an 8.5%, hard money loan, which is really cheap compared to what else is out there on the market. So there's never a good reason not to do it, just because of the money. And it didn't sound like it was an issue for you, but what's your ROI on paying an attorney $2,500 if you've got the property locked up and you're making hundreds of thousands? That's what's great about California. You got that opportunity to make some big bucks at every deal.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what the cost is. I mean, I've heard it's around $20,000 to $30,000 for a probate in Los Angeles, but I don't really know the truth. So I just need to dig in and actually meet more of these attorneys and kind of get a better understanding.
A lot of it depends on the attorney. A lot of the attorneys, and this is one reason why frequently an attorney will do partial authority in California, is they'll base it on a time, or some of them base it on a percentage of the overall estate. So, I'm in North Carolina, and a lot of times in North Carolina, the attorney will come in knowing that they don't have to put real estate into probate. They will put real estate into probate anyway because they're charging a percentage of what goes through probate. And even though the house doesn't need to go through probate, if they put it in, that means that they might get an extra 1.5 or 2% on a percentage model. So it really depends on the attorney themselves. There are fee-based, there are hour-based, and then there are commission-based. And so it kind of depends. I would say that in LA, you'll definitely see those $20,000 or $30,000 probate fees, but I bet you could find some fee-based attorneys that might do it for $5,000. So Chuck mentioned in Pennsylvania, 2.5. That's kind of low. I haven't seen 2.5 very often, like $2,500. In California, it might be, if they were a fee-based, it might be 5 or 6, which still, even if it was 5 or 6 and you're covering the expenses because there's enough meat on the bone.
That's to stage a house out here in LA.
Yeah.
Well, I just did some looking while we're talking, and apparently there are statutory fee structures in California that say that probate attorneys in California are entitled to 4% of the first 100,000 of the estate value, 3% of the next 100, 2% of the next 800,000, and 1% for amounts over $1 million. So that should tell you what the structure is, and that's specific to the state. And I see that in more than one place, multiple places. So I am assuming that's a correct piece of data. You should validate that with an attorney, but I mean that data appears a bunch of places here.
Yeah, I've seen that as well. It's a lot of money.
So, and that very quickly could certainly get to, a substantial amount of money. So, and anything over $25 million, the court determines the fee and all that kind of stuff. So, but that kind of data is available out there, and you know where it is. The other thing I was going to also suggest, and it's kind of in line in some respects what Jim said, is that you may, depending on what you run into, I would always have a probate attorney in my quiver that if you think that your potential client is being ill-served by the attorney they have for whatever reason, and, heavens forbid that you might run into an attorney who's overcharging and gouging somebody or taking advantage of them by, funneling them off to another investor who may be attempting to take a predatory approach to buying the property. You need to have somebody that you can rely on to at least talk to about that and see what you may be able to offer as an alternative, because you might run into somebody with $1 million house that really doesn't know necessarily what's going on, and attorney gets hold of it and guides them to someone who's really going to take them to the cleaners. And if you run into that, you need to be able to find an alternative for them too. Again, it's part of how we help people.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate your time.
All right. Appreciate you participating. We only have one other person in the queue, guys. Please, we got a good attendance on the call. Jump in. We're looking for the win of the week, which does have to be probate specific. We're also looking for the idea of the week, which, just what are you doing to get listings in this competitive market? And both of those, we have an award of free leads for you or a discount on your next set of leads. So please jump in and participate. In the meantime, we have, there you go. Thank you. We had a couple more people jump in the queue. So next up is phone number ending in 9902. You're up next.
Hey, Bruce. It's Rick Wilson. How are you all doing today?
Great. Rick, how are you?
Great. Here in North Carolina, things are hot as dickens. I hope it's nice and cool where you are.
Well, certainly not me, because I'm only 2 hours away from you, but I hope everybody else is cool.
Yeah, it's cooking here. Just thought I'd give you a call because got an interesting pushback on a call. I left a message the other day, and then at the end of the message, I said, it's just something I think you suggested was that please call me back and so that I could either leave you on my list or take you off. Looking forward to hearing from you. Bye for now. Guy calls back. He says, the reason I haven't called you back is because I'm not interested. I would have called you back if I was interested. Couldn't you take a hint? I mean, it was really kind of nasty to me. But I don't have that happen very often, but it was just a one-off deal. But it did make me think about something, is I might be calling too often. Has there been any experience with this from you all? Could it be that I'm calling too often? I know. Go ahead, please.
I'm going to pose the idea or the concept that yes, Rick, you are calling some people too often, and shame on you, and at the same time, you're calling other people not often enough, and shame on you. The simple fact is we have no idea who we're calling too often and who we're not calling often enough. So I'd rather err on this. If I'm gonna err one way or the other, I'd rather err on the side of profitability and run the risk of annoying a couple of people if it means that I'm going to be in the right place at the right time for some others. So who gives a crap if you annoy someone? Bottom line, he called you back and told you to remove him from the list and that he wasn't interested. And now
he did exactly what I asked him to do.
Yep.
Rick, I was going to agree. I was going to agree with what Bruce said, and I think I may have shared this before. When I was prospecting, I was kind of a maniac on the phone, and guy called me one time and said, "My God," or he answered the phone. He said, "My God, are you going to call me every single day?" And I said, "There's one way to stop that. List your house with me, and you'll never hear from me again." I was trying to be funny, but the guy laughed and said, "I like you. You've got a sense of humor, and I know you're persistent. Come on over." So that example you just gave, would you rather gain the respect of someone who has the potential to do business with you, or piss off somebody who's never going to do business with you anyway? The guy called back to tell you he wasn't going to do business with you, so it's easy to apologize and say, "Okay, I won't call you again."
That's what it is. I'm really sorry that. To move on. Getting back to frequency, though, I'm just wondering out loud. I mean, I am sending out the letters every month, and then and what I've been doing is I've been calling every 2 weeks and leaving a message, a different message each time. Some cases relating to the letter they received. In other cases, just kind of a pitch, an elevator pitch, like Bruce has recommended in the past, and I took that to heart. And do the 30-second elevator pitch. I might do that on the first call, just do that pitch the first time, and then end it with, "Please call me back so I can either keep you on my list or take you off. Looking forward to hearing from you. Bye for now." So I'm just wondering if is it ever serve any purpose not to leave a message? Does it never ever serve a purpose for not leaving a message? I don't know.
Sure. So you're going to hate me because it goes right back to the first answer that I gave you. Is you don't know who that person is. You don't know if they're the type that just out of curiosity calls the number back that hasn't left a message. You don't know if they're the type that has to hear a message first. You don't know. And because you don't know, I'm going to propose that you have a few calls through your program, through your process, a couple of calls where you don't leave a message, just a few.
Yeah.
most
Just
of
throw
your
it in.
calls you
Yeah.
want to leave a message. So maybe that initial call, don't leave a message. Maybe
Yeah.
sometime after a month or two, don't leave a message. But the others a message should be left. And I want to address one thing that you mentioned a second ago, and I've probably used this language. So most likely you're using it because I have. I don't like the word list. So I don't like the word list. Call me back so I can take you off of my list. That kind of depersonalizes it a little bit. I would just say, hey, call me back. I don't want to bother you, and I won't call you again. Instead of I'll take you off of my list, because that just sort of implies that you bought a list somewhere, which you did. But So try not to use that word.
Well, how would you rephrase that? Because I think that helped elicit in this example a response. So how would I mean, would I want to eliminate list? What word would I use?
Well, just real simple. You just rephrase it without the word. So it's going to be, hey, I don't want to keep bothering you. I know you're kind of going through probate, and sometimes that can be a difficult time. If you don't want me to call you again, do you think you could give me a shout back? On the other hand, maybe you don't need help right now, but you might be thinking about something in the future. Just give me a shout and let me know kind of where you stand, so that I can kind of appropriately follow up if I need to. And I didn't mention list anywhere in that, but I said the same thing. Call me back so that I know what to do.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's true. I have to blame you for the list. You gave that to me. So
I probably did.
Yeah. But that's okay. I mean, we're all thinking through this. So I'll take definitely, because I honestly, I'll be honest. When I set the list, the thought did flip through my mind. This is kind of deep, not very personal. It sounds too telemarketing. That's a word. I think softening it up is probably the best idea. Okay, very good. Well, listen, you're very, very helpful, and I appreciate the answer.
Hey, Rick, somewhat you sort of touched on it just briefly. I used to have people say, "Where did you get my number?" And you could kind of have fun. If I told you I'd have to kill you, is a little bit fun depending on how easygoing the person is. But another one that I used to like is, hey, I'm pretty good at finding people, and I'll do just as good a job finding a buyer for your property. You could. There's a lot of good.
Flip it.
Yeah, exactly. You can put it in their mind that, hey, I'm the only one that called on this number. Really? Well, that ought to tell you something. What does that tell you about my ability to find a buyer for your property? So that's a good, just a good add-on if you do get a question like that.
I've had that honestly. I've had that question come up, and so I really kind of mumbled through that one. I'm glad you mentioned it, and I will, because I'm sure it'll happen again. Where'd you get my number? I know where I got the number. I got it from their application at the courthouse. So,
All right. Well, we had one other person go ahead, Rick. Did you have another question?
No. I say the reason it's best because what it could happen is that they could turn around and call the clerk, and the clerk could make it life difficult for you.
How would that say? How would the clerk? How would the clerk?
The clerk could say, "I don't want you in my office. You're bothering people."
Oh, okay. All right.
They could push back.
No, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
The clerk, they're doing their job. Unless they're friends with the person that calls in, they're not going to tell you, because it's public information. Yeah. And a clerk can't stop you from going in and collecting public information, even if they wanted to.
Yeah.
So the best way to handle that is, how do you get my number? You could spin it like Jim just mentioned, or you could say, Yeah, I actually call several people, maybe not everybody. I don't like to mention the word everybody, but I call several people that are listed as personal representatives and handling an estate. That is you, right? So turn it back to them and ask a question instead of continuing with the statement. So make a short statement and then ask a question. You are personal representative, right? So now all of a sudden you're kind of turning the conversation back over to them. You're touching on the answer and then you're moving off of it immediately instead of dwelling on it and creating more questions in their mind. Just quick and short. Yeah, actually I call a lot of the families that are going through probate. You are going through probate, right? Or did I get that wrong?
Okay. Got it. Yeah,
So,
again, flipping it back to them on a question. Yeah, acknowledging, and then flipping. Got it. Good. That's helpful.
All right. Thank you, sir. We
Thank you,
appreciate
guys.
You're a regular participant.
Yeah,
and speaking of that, we have no one else in the queue. What's that, Rick?
I said I'm always coming up with something because I call and I'm very active now. I'm calling all the time.
Yeah.
I'm up and I'm building this airplane as I'm flying it along. So
exactly. One of my partners used to say it's easier to steer a moving truck, and that's kind of what you're doing. And you're coming up with specific questions every week, and and things that we can help with. So we very much appreciate you. Anything else this week, Rick? Are you good to go?
No, I'm good. I'm just tuning in and learning from each one of these. Each one of these meetings. So it's been so helpful. Thank you.
Perfect. Well, before we, this guys, there's no one in the queue, so we'll go back around with my partners one more time. This is your last chance. If you want to jump in, hit *6 and hit 1. And Chuck, I know you had a comment on the previous caller as far as needing an attorney in North Carolina and the cost. Do you want to share that?
Well, it was really from a standpoint. I'm here in Pennsylvania, so Pennsylvania does not require that an attorney be involved at all in the probate process. I mean, it's basically you need to have your filing, you need to go through and do your inventories, and then you need to get your short statements and filing all that information with the court. Just because it is a court, many people are under the improper perception that they need to have an attorney deal with the court, when actually it's just filing the documents and making sure that everything is done when it's supposed to be done, because time is of the essence.
Right.
So there's actually, I have referral partners here in my business that have created even a program where they will teach people to DIY their own probate, which would cost maybe in the $500-600 range for them to get the instructions. And it's really just telling people what the court instructions already tell them in a much nicer format, PDF. They have some assistance or coaching and different levels, but it's really not that big and scary. But when people have that situation on their hands, they feel much more comfortable because of their lack of understanding of the process in advance, that they're relying on an attorney to handle all of those specific details for them. So when it comes to those type of costs, it's important to understand your state rules, because if California has a requirement, as an example, that an attorney does handle that probate case on behalf of somebody, and that's just the way it's done, then you have to factor that into your business dealings, when we were talking about covering the fees, et cetera. But
sure.
Yeah.
Yep. No, that's good info. Thank you. And it prompted me, it reminded me that very similar in Florida, you don't need an attorney. Probably 20-25% of the probate cases in Florida are pro se, which means on my own. I find it interesting, though. This is just anecdotal, but from what I can see in the cases that I see, it's kind of like a FSBO. Except in this market, maybe. In a normal market, a lot of people start out as FSBO, but most of them end up hiring an attorney. A good percentage a good percentage of the states, like Virginia, I know most people don't hire an attorney. Florida, it's probably 70, 80% due. I think majority of the states probably have a provision for filing on your own. And I also believe that a good percentage of those people that do start on their own get quickly overwhelmed or, get stuck in the quicksand and end up hiring an attorney. And we've talked so many times before that is a great way to approach an attorney and build a referral relationship. Walk in the front door of any attorney's office and say, hey, I noticed Mr. Johnson, helps people with probate, and so do I, and I'm talking to 100 sellers a month, and about 25 of them don't have an attorney. I just want to stop by to see if he would mind if I referred some of these people to him. You'll get right in and, make it a quid pro quo. When you get in to see the attorney, hey, I'll be glad to refer people to you because I know you have restrictions on marketing. Would you do the same for me if people contact you and they don't have a realtor yet? So it's just good. Like you said, it's really good to know. We've had people say they've actually gone down to the courthouse, met the probate clerk and go through that process. That's a nice extra step. It's probably not necessary, but if you're going to really treat this like a valid niche, you definitely should be having conversations with prominent attorneys in your market and let them answer your questions. Let them be the professional. They'll appreciate it, and find out the way things work and the specifics, and you're going to be much better able not only to communicate with the attorneys, but to be able to offer help to the sellers. So I thought that was a good point. In the meantime, we have 2 more in the queue. So good job jumping in there, guys. We're still looking for our win of the week. We're still looking for our idea of the week. And next up is phone number ending in 4471. You're up next.
Good morning. Can you guys hear me okay?
Loud and clear.
Okay. My name is Winston Covington. I'm in Southern California. And cost have been an interesting discussion here this morning. So I figured I'd Google the cost here for probate in California courts as of 2021. And I'd share a rough rule of thumb that these guys operate by. And we may be the most expensive state in the country to probate, but how they do it with their sliding scale is, this is of the gross value of the estate, is 4% of the first 100,000, 3% of the next 100, and then 2% of the next 800,000, leaving you up to $1 million. So that gentleman that was talking about the probate cost there for a $600,000 house, they're looking at $30,000 in fees between, everybody being involved. And just out of curiosity here, I was looking at the median price in Orange County where I live. It's $900,000. So to probate a $900,000 house here, just the house itself, the cost would be $42,000. So I thought you guys might get a kick out of knowing that and that formula, and just to give you a better feel for how they do things in California.
Yeah, the $42,000 in attorney's fees, that's more than a house costs in Bruce Market, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. That's what it is out here. But that's covering, again, the attorney and the administrator, so it's covering both sides in that formula that I just gave you.
Yeah, that's also the max. That doesn't mean that they don't negotiate pricing.
Yeah, it makes a mention that the judge or the court can make a determination, but they make that note with the states exceeding $25 million. I found that to be interesting as well. But that's roughly the sliding scale. I just wanted to share that with you guys.
The point is that there are a lot of attorneys that are out there that are actually advertising low-cost probate and a lot of stuff. So what you're citing is the defined maximum they can charge, and I think it's always a good question to ask to become familiar with, what kind of the going rate is, because every attorney's not charging full pop to get that job done.
Gotcha.
Yeah, also I was going to add, Tim, I think in almost any market, you'll find attorneys that are willing to either take nothing down or a small retainer and wait until the closing to get paid. So
sure.
It's not like you've got to come out of pocket for all that money. And it's like anything else. It is and it should be negotiable.
Yeah, out here they don't get paid till the deal is done, meaning the end of the probate. Not when we get paid as agents, when the sale's closed, but they have to wait till the probate is done.
There you go. Okay. Good. That's good to know. Interesting. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it. And
You're welcome.
We can help you with this? Anything else we can help you with this week?
Not really. I'd like to get on your service, but I understand Orange County's pretty full. I've been on the list for a while, so I guess we'll just have to wait my turn.
I'll take down your phone number. This 4471 is the best number to reach at?
Yes.
I will as soon as the call's over, I'll have one of our account representatives just double check for you, make sure there's not a spot.
Thank you, sir. I'd appreciate that.
And what's your first name?
First name is Winston. Winston Covington is my name.
All right, perfect.
That's one of the coolest names I've ever heard.
Yeah.
It's Winston Raleigh Covington III. It takes up 2 full spaces, 2 full lines on my driver's license.
Funny.
That's an award of some kind for sure.
my dad did that to me.
Are you possibly a little bit English?
Very much so. Very much so. My dad's the one that chose that name. There's a long history behind that name.
That's great. That's great.
All right. Well, thank you. We'll reach out to you. I'll see what I can do. I'll reach out to you after the call, see if there's a spot there. Okay.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. We have one more in the queue, guys. They don't have to be the last. There's plenty of room. We got another 10, 15 minutes. If you want to jump in, hit *6 and hit 1. In the meantime, next up is phone number ending in 9877. You're up next.
Hey guys, this is Chris in Georgia. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Most of my I don't have a real estate license, so all I'm doing is the investing side, and most of my deals are one-on-one and one at a time. But I'm trying to crank it up this year and start doing more follow-ups and more juggling. Can y'all suggest a simple, easy startup system for follow-ups and CRMs?
Bruce?
Would you ask that question again? It got really muffled. So suggest I heard follow-up CRMs, but I'd missed something in the middle there.
Okay, this is probably better.
There we go.
I've been doing most of my deals just one-on-one and one at a time. So I was trying to wanting to crank up and do some more follow-ups and marketing follow-ups and for doing the probates. And I just need help getting something simple started for a CRM or marketing, self-propelled marketing system. Yeah.
Do you have a proposed or an estimated budget for what you'd like to take on? Because there are a bunch of them. I don't want to give you I don't want to go too expensive if you have a low budget, or too low if you have an expensive budget.
Lower the better.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, probably. I don't even know what the going rate for them even is.
A lot of it depends on whether you have a dialer plugged into it or not. But if you're like Follow-Up Boss would be a good affordable CRM. It takes an extra dialer plug-in. Let's see, Lion Desk is also really affordable as a CRM. It does not have a dialer at all, but it's really, really affordable, like $50 a month. There's a site called CRM Grow that we're testing out that's about $50 a month, and that's super affordable. You have to plug a dialer into it that runs like an extra 100 if you want to call through the system as well. Or you can
And by dialer, you're meaning what?
Basically, it's just a power dialer. You call in and it motors through phone numbers for you instead of you having to manually dial. So you'll get through about 3 or 4 times as many calls in an hour using a dialer as you would calling manually yourself. So those 3 systems, Lion Desk, without, to my knowledge, okay, I don't want to like slander them or anything by saying that they don't have something that they do now, but to my knowledge, I don't think that they have a dialer plug-in, whereas CRM Grow, which I'm a big fan of right now, or Follow-Up Boss, they do have dialers that you can plug into them. So you get the CRM for somewhere in the range of like $50 per month. And then you plug your dialer into it to make your calls. Now, if you want to manually call, then those are only $50 a month. Those would probably be the way that I'd go if I were kind of starting out and I didn't have a big budget at the moment. And I do believe that dialers will certainly make you far more efficient. So I would probably find something that I could plug my dialer into and call right through the system.
Okay. Now the other thing is
Are you one of our
I'm in
subscribers?
Got it?
No, sir, not yet.
So
I priced it a couple of weeks
You guys
ago,
hear me? Are you there?
and yeah, I can hear you.
I got them, guys. I got them. Hold on, I'm gonna chat you all so you can shut up and let it let us.
Oh no, that's
no,
okay.
we're loud and clear over here. So what was the other question?
Well, the follow-up was the Georgia's got a pretty good online system for finding the recently filed probates, so I can go through the online list one at a time and find out who the representative is, or if they've got an attorney, and when it was filed, and when the decedent died, and all that stuff. Is there any way, do y'all know of any programs that can crawl a government program and extract all that information automatically?
We're not really crawling the systems, and it really depends on the courthouse. Most courthouses don't release that data through crawlers like that. We send researchers in to pull it all for you. So if you don't have a courthouse that releases data like that, then best is to either go in yourself or have someone go in for you. And then, of course, with us, we'll skip trace it and give you the phone numbers as well. But there is no like one size fits all crawler that goes out into multiple courthouses. It's all sort of up to the courthouse itself.
Yeah, my area, I've only got like 2 or 3 counties that I'm working with, but all of them, they publish it online. So I just need a VA to go in and just pick them out and write down the information. I'm just trying to figure out a easy automated way to get those names into a automatic mailing schedule.
Now, Tim may be able to comment on this better than I, but we find a lot of counties where they publish information online. It's pretty limited, and it may give you the the deceased and the case number, but typically it's certainly not a one-step process to dig in and get all the information you need. There are courthouses where we can get it online where we still send people down there because it's so fragmented. It really depends on the county. Everyone's a little bit different. Anything you want to add to that, Tim?
Yeah, we do a lot more than just get that. I mean, we pull the base information, and then we augment that by running it through, making sure that we get the phone numbers for the personal representatives to talk to, so that you not only get one number, but you get multiple phone numbers to be able to reach out to that personal representative that's been appointed for the case. We make sure that any direct mail that you would do, which we highly recommend that you do as well, is a deliverable email or a deliverable mailing address. And we just make sure that you get good data. We also have a plus aspect to our program, which will also tell you if, in fact, there is property that is part of the estate, which allows you to further target that. In addition to that, and I apologize if you already said this, Bruce, but you were asking about a CRM. And, of course, with our system, we have a CRM that's built into our system that's specifically designed to help you target your mailings, your emailing, your marketing, your phone calls, and all of that, and schedule new appointments and all of that. So it's built into our system as part of our subscription. So we do a far better job than just sending somebody into the courthouse to get a little bit of data. We make darn sure that you can absolutely get in touch with the right folks to determine what your next steps are.
Okay. All right. And the next foundations class, when is that?
Beginning of the month. I think it's coming up on September 1st and 2nd, if I'm not mistaken. It might be 2nd and 3rd, but it's whatever that first Wednesday is of September. And you can grab that just either logging into your portal. If you're not being a subscriber, if you don't have the portal, you can get it on the site, or you can call in to the support line on our website and register for that.
All right. Well, we have 3 more in the queue. We're going to try to get to all of you. Next up is phone number ending in 2729.
Gentlemen, good morning. This is Bill Janiga. I'm calling from southeastern Michigan. And
hey, Bill.
I have a comment regarding the different things that you can do. Here in Michigan, in the majority of our counties, they follow the state law, and you can do a mini probate on your own as long as the total asset value is not over $24,000. And there's a lot of people that don't even know that. So that comes in handy. And what I try to do is take a unique approach of what I can do for them to help them, as opposed to just tell me about property. Taking it so far as, is it there's a business involved, other things other than just bringing up property right away. And I've got one right now as a referral. And when I met with the clients, unfortunately, the husband has some bad form of cancer, and I think he has limited time. So you have to be careful, because he tires very easy during an interview or a meeting. So I try to take that in mind, and I just simply said, what is the one thing that I could do to help you to make things easier? And he said, well, I need to get rid of the condo. I said, well, there's 2 avenues that we can do that, or actually maybe 3. You could rent it, which I know that's nothing that's even feasible because of his condition. I said, or we can list it just like we did your friends, or I have the facility to buy it outright. And if we did that, you don't have to do anything. Simply give us the keys and just walk away from it. Take out the personal items that you want, things of sentimental value. And so he's thinking about that right now. Either way, I win, because I'll either get the listing or I'll get to purchase it. And the fact that we can close in 2 to 3 days, assuming there's clear title, Dad had his wife's interest more than him. I think part of it, he's a little tired and a little confused. But it's a win-win situation. And my other comment is, what got me started in probate years ago was I did the probate process for a friend of mine that had died unexpectedly at 41 of an aneurysm. And the attorneys wanted almost $8,000 for my friend's parents. I did it for them. Other than travel time to Detroit and the hassle of dealing with the county, I think the whole process was under $400. And for us, that included 3 postings. So there's things that they can always do. It's just finding someone that's either willing to help you do it, or you taking the time to learn how to do it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. Well said. That's great. Thanks for sharing, Bill. Anything specific? Anything else that we can help you with specifically?
Yes, I'm glad you asked that question. I do. I have one thing. It's totally off track of probate. I damaged my hearing last year, so I don't always hear the conversations well. But if you could pass it on, if there's a way, anyone that's had any luck with recovery of hearing loss, I'd love to know about it.
Yeah, that's, it certainly, if anybody on the call has any expertise with that, I reach out to Bill, see what you can do. It's certainly not noticeable in your conversations, Bill. You sound...
Well, I've got it on a Bose speaker, which helps. That helps tremendously.
Yeah. I got you.
But
all right,
thanks, guys. I really appreciate everything.
Thank you.
Appreciate
we have 2 more. We're going to try to jump and get both of the people in the queue real quick. Did one of my partners have something to say? Bruce, did you have a comment?
Nope. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. All right. Next up is phone number ending in 6451. You're up next.
Hi, this is Susan. Jim, this is Soji Susan.
Hey,
Can you hear
Susan.
me?
We finally get a female voice. Thank you. Good morning. Good afternoon. How you doing?
Good morning here. I'm okay. How about you?
Excellent. Good to hear from you, Susan.
My question is, I know you've gone over a little bit of the dialogue when you leave a message, And this is kind of new for me. I've been listening to the calls with my husband. He was agent for a very long time. And Jim knows he subscribed and was very good at it. So now I'm doing this. And I find that I'm kind of fumbling with that first message that I'm leaving. So I could use a little help. I am coming to the foundations in September. So, and I'm familiar with a lot of the dialogue because I listened in on a lot of the calls. But if you guys could just go over something, please, with that initial call, leaving a message.
Yeah. So, Susan, it's Bruce, by the way. You're probably, the initial call should probably be a little more vague. Hey, it's Susan. I shot you a letter last week, and I was just wanting to give you a quick call to see if you got that. It was in the blue envelope. And make sure that you kind of understood why I sent it. If you didn't get that, or if you have any questions, would you give me a call back? So invoke some curiosity. Now, a lot of people will get a little nervous on leaving future messages, and they'll try to use the same one, or they'll skip out on the future messages. So on your future voicemails, I want you to go ahead and unpack your elevator pitch. So unpack what you do. I'm calling because we help families that are going through probate and have inherited real estate. We really help with anything from property maintenance to repairs to cutting the grass, or if you need anything and kind of need a concierge to help you with that stuff, would you call me back? And then leave your number. And so you're sort of unpacking different services on future messages. But that first one, I want to pique their curiosity by not giving very many details on what we give. Okay, and that's if you're sending a letter. If you're not sending a letter or a brochure, then you might not reference it on the first call.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
No,
thank you, Susan. Yeah. Last up this week, we're going to go just a couple minutes over time, is phone number ending in 6640. You're up last.
Hey, guys. Eric again in LA. Quick question. I got a great script out of you guys from that foundations class, and it's been working. As you know, not everybody is always ready to do something right away. What do you guys, because our people are getting a ton of mail. I was thinking about sending a note card with a CMA and one of your letters that outline all the different services that we have. Any other recommendations that you would suggest after you've had a great conversation with somebody who's just not ready to do something as of now to put in the mail?
Yeah. I mean, this is going to take a little bit of brainstorming, and I've brainstormed on this a little bit without the greatest implementation in the world in my own business, but you want to sit down and think, okay, if I was a new PR or a new family member settling in a state for the first time, what would I not know? What would I not know? I wouldn't know what the overall flow of the process was. I probably would not know how much an attorney might cost. Okay, so we got done talking about that a little bit ago. I might not know what order I need to work on the house with. Okay, maybe I'm under the illusion that I'm not allowed to even walk inside of the house until I have my letters of testamentary, or maybe I think that my attorney, when my attorney says I got it handled from here, maybe I think that he really or she really has it handled and that they're going to do everything. Maybe I need a landscaper. Maybe I need insurance. So I'm going to go about educating people with those pieces that I send after I've established a dialogue. I'm going to go about offering free education or discounts to certain services. I might talk about what's going to happen if they're inheriting money and they don't want to burn it too fast, or if they want to help avoid some of the tax liabilities that they're going to have on coming into a windfall of cash. So I'm going to be putting out information to them that helps them just through the process of inheriting money inheriting a house, who cuts the grass. Hey, use my landscaper and he'll cut it for free. Just different things like this. And so it's going to take some brainstorming, but once you've kind of come up with those several pieces of value, just start dripping those out on them through the mail.
Okay.
Hey, you probably didn't know, you might not have known this, so I wouldn't say you probably don't know this. You might not have known that a good financial planner does X. Here's my financial planner's information. Or you might not have known that you might need vacant property insurance. Here's my insurance agent. And so you give them pieces of information that are more than just, hey, I'll buy your house. I think that's the mistake a lot of people make, is it's constantly, hey, I'll buy your house, I'll buy your house, I'll buy your house, and it's annoying. But if you can lead with value and provide connections to them, then they're going to start to view you as the credible resource. When everybody else is selling them, you're giving education and value.
I appreciate that. Thanks. You've really opened my mind up to a lot more than I was even thinking about. Thanks.
All right.
Definitely.
Great way to end the call, everybody. And hey, thank you for the participation in the beginning there. I didn't think we'd make it, through, and we ended up going overtime. So as always, I want to thank each of you for being here today. I want to particularly thank those that actively participated. And I want to challenge each of you, take one idea that inspired you on this call, go out and put it into practice, and please come back next Thursday and share your results with the group. Have a great week, everybody. We'll talk to you same time next Thursday. Take care.